like to introduce Peter Gajdics, a class of 2010 Writers Retreat Fellow in Nonfiction.
Okay, I'm going to read from my memoir called Crossing Sticks. And it's about a third into the book, and I've been in this therapy for about 2 years and living in a therapeutic house for about a year and a half. If the call to my mother had severed our relationship, at least for the time being, it had also ignited a new surge of anger toward both my parents. Taking full advantage of a possible therapeutic breakthrough, Alfonso quickly scheduled all my sessions in tandem. For an hour, I batted and screamed until my throat was stripped raw and my body was dripping in an acrid sweat. Then I quickly dried off with a towel, sprinkled myself with baby powder, changed my shirt, and lay on the mattress as Alfonso injected me with ketamine. 5 deep breaths were all I needed before the heaviness of the medication took me down like a dark, damp blanket, smothering me. Then I crawled across the room to Alice, my surrogate mother, who was sitting cross-legged against the opposite wall. For the next 50 minutes, her lap became my cradle, where she coddled me and I responded with baby talk and sucked my thumb. My nighttime sleep began to deteriorate. Alfonso upped my doses of medication. It's normal for a person to need more medication the deeper they go in primal, he said. You're nowhere near what I was taking when I had my breakdown, my dark night of the soul. Don't worry about it. But I did worry about it. In addition to my weekly injections of ketamine, now I was taking 4 milligrams of Rivotril, 550 milligrams of Elavil, Sermontil, and Sinequan intermittently every day. Nothing helped. Nothing stopped the panic and the fear. Nothing stopped grief and despair. The more medication he prescribed, the more I took, and the worse my symptoms became. There was no rational thought, no trying to figure out whether my worsening symptoms were the result of extended primal therapy or the medications. No energy was left to think. Crawling out of bed every morning and bicycling to school or to work or to the office, every act, thought, movement, conversation, sound, syllable required more from me than I could give, became a chore, an endless weight like chains wrapped around my body, dragging me down deeper, every day down deeper. Then one day my body would no longer sleep. 550 milligrams isn't working, I told Alfonso at the office. I haven't slept in days. Well, I can't prescribe more than 550 milligrams, he said. Pharmacists won't fill you the prescription. But I sometimes take more myself. Just take an extra 50 milligrams if you need to. We'll renew your prescription a bit earlier next time. So that's what I did. 550 milligrams turned into 600. Still sleep eluded me, like an object always beyond my reach. Every morning, I crawled out of bed earlier and earlier for work. It was that or lie awake, drenched in an icy sweat, immobilized by fear. By the winter of 1991, I was bicycling to my job at 5 in the morning over snowy roads and numbed by the blizzards. For the next 3 hours until work started, I would sit alone in the half-lit, empty university cafeteria smoking and drinking endless cups of coffee in an effort to awaken my body from its medicated stupor. One icy winter morning, the moment I stood from my bed, something inside of me unhinged and I collapsed, feeling the air rush past me as if I'd plunged down an endless elevator shaft. Dreyan found me sometime later, conscious, lying motionless on the floor, still feeling as if I were falling through space, the endless landscape of my shattered mind, rootless to myself and my surroundings. He fed me a dose of his antipsychotic, Nozanan, and called Alfonso to the house. The days and weeks that followed were a jumble of events. I imagined someone called my university employer and told them I would not be back to work. I never returned to school. Alfonso placed me on medical disability and added Nozanan to my regime of daily medications. Elevators, escalators, even cars or buses, any and all involuntary movement of my body exacerbated the sense that I was plummeting like a plane down inside myself and toward my own untimely end. Only walking, remaining physically active, counteracted the dread, and so every day, all day, through parks, inside shopping malls, down streets, I walked. Drehan walked with me. I could not be left alone. Time had ceased to exist. Now my days were clocked by experiences, not minutes. Feeling the jigsaw puzzle of my mind break apart, looking through the peepholes of my eyes and seeing only blurry objects, expanding and collapsing at will. Repeating entire conversations because I'd forgotten I'd had them already. Hearing all sounds, traffic, wind, voices swirling around me, as if I were locked in the eye of a storm. Carrying the weight of my body around like a suit of armor I wished only to remove so I could sleep. Maybe I slipped away for an hour or two, inconsolably exhausted, and yet I always surfaced again by 3 or 4 in the morning and lay panic-stricken in my bed till dawn. Arriving at my sessions, zombie-like, my speech was sometimes incomprehensible. Dry mouth, labored breathing, heart palpitations, involuntary twitching, constipation, urinary retention, weight gain of over 40 pounds. I'm in so much physical discomfort, I managed to tell Alfonso one day. I don't know how much more I can take. To which he repeated what he'd said so many times before. You need to feel the bond with Mummy. Just be in the Mummy space. My body was an earthquake that I was trapped inside.